Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Daily Dose. We are back in the basement today, and we are doing this over Zoom because it's a show and tell Wednesday. Very exciting.
Fantastic.
Do you want me to set this premise up?
Yes.
Okay, so many of you may have watched Oprah's interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle earlier this week. I didn't watch it live, but I did watch it the next day. Stupidly thinking if I didn't watch it live, I would escape some commercials, which was a huge mistake because there was a billion commercials online, but that's not the point of today's conversation. So just for some premise, and then you can talk about your household. I grew up in a, royal obsessed is a little bit strong, but I grew up in a household that certainly adored the concept of Princess Diana by all means. I mean, I have the kind of Barbie doll sized Charles and Diana dolls in their wedding clothes. We've got tons of books. We've gotten rid of a bunch of them. I mean, nothing new. This is all from when Diana first came on the scene. My whole family and I got up. My mom made scones at like 3 a.m. to watch that wedding. It was exciting. Some friends and I got together for William and Kate's wedding. Same kind of thing. That was exciting. We were in Ireland when Harry and Meghan got married in Dingle, and we're in a great little store, and the women behind the counter were watching it, and I was sort of, trying to surreptitiously watch it, and the woman finally said to me, "Oh, for God's sake, come behind the counter and watch it with us." So I did.
Yeah, there she was behind the counter, a big smile on her face, watching a wedding.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it was sort of thrilling. And as much as we all, I think, want to say that fairy tales aren't real and they're stupid and, misogynistic and blah, 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 there is something really romantic about that whole notion, the crown and all of it. So Dr. Mary, talk about the royal family in your house, because we have referenced this, but in case you have forgotten, Dr. Mary grew up about 8 miles from Windsor Castle. You can see Windsor Castle from his sister's back garden. I mean, it's right there. So talk about the royal family as an Irish immigrant family to England growing up right there.
My mum likes the royal family.
Is that all that needs to be said?
I'm indifferent. I think my sister likes it in the way that it actually does. It is. My sister's an accountant, so it is good for the economy. I get that.
Yep.
It's just, and then, there's things like, do you need one? Leave the poor people alone. And apparently, there is more ensuing evidence that they might not actually be the nicest human beings on the face of the planet. Yes, they've done great things. I can probably, if my mum is watching this or watches this at some point, she'll be boiling mad. Yes, I do. I would admit they do good things. No.
Well,
question.
Probably nobody on the planet works harder than Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, I mean, Liz has kept them all together for quite some time, but mistakes have been made. My mum's partner, Mike, a very staunch Scottish lad.
Very anti-monarchist.
Just dislikes the monarchy with a passion.
Yes, he does.
that Dante couldn't do justice to.
He does. Yes. In fact, after the Meghan and Harry conversation, my mom was talking to her partner, Bob, who I wouldn't say has a Dante hatred of the royal family, but certainly could give 2 hoots about them. And his response was, "Do you suppose Mike had to watch the interview?" Mike, Jean's partner. So they have found kindred spirits in each other, that the women can enjoy the royal family and the men can say,
and it's a great thing. And, just to look on the joy on an American's face when you first take them around Windsor Castle and Hampton Court Palace and
all the other
places, if you like it, it's a fantastic thing to go and see. I encourage Americans, if I ever meet them in Windsor, to do the long walk.
Wow.
It's 3 miles. It's 3 miles there, 3 miles. Actually,
it.
The whole thing's 6.2 miles if you want to be pedantic. But what's at the end of the long walk is, of course, a statue of George III on a horse. Who, of
As
course,
a Roman soldier. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a depiction of him.
which of course he was the king during the Revolutionary War. So I encourage Americans to go there because the dude was raving crazy.
Kick the hill. Anyway, so that's the backstory to this. And if you watched the interview, you learned, I think, a hard and important reminder that looks can be deceiving and not everything is the fairy tale happy ending. I mean, the Disney stories end at the end of the altar. Well, everybody's happy that day. It's the next day where there is some potential challenge. So I want to pull up for you the picture that Megan referenced. Hold on, I might have done this wrong. Let's see if we can get to it. There we go. Okay, so this is the picture that Megan referenced as this incredible picture of she and Harry at this event at the Royal Albert Hall, which is in London. She looks stunning.
She does look stunning.
He looks handsome. And a friend of hers called her when this picture came out and said, Megan, I know you don't look at your own press, but look at how beautiful you are. And what Megan told Oprah was, all I could see was our hands, because they are white knuckled, because that was the day that she had told the royal family that she was concerned for her mental health and was pretty seriously considering suicide. And Harry had said to her, why don't you stay home tonight? And her response was, I can't be left alone. So look at what is written. The Duchess of Sussex looks so beautiful in blue. The former Meghan Markle enchanted in a sparkly navy blue Roland Moray maternity dress when she and Prince Harry enjoyed a romantic date night at the Cirque du Soleil premiere of Totem at Royal Albert Hall in London.
I thought that was Ron's work.
So, this looks perfect. Her dress is stunning. Look at her shoes, for heaven's sakes. Her gown, she's wearing some jewelry of Diana's. It's an incredible photo, and they look blissful. And what we now know is that they were miserable. She was suicidal in that photo. So I started then thinking about our time. Not that this is where we're saying we don't really liken ourselves to a Duke and Duchess at all. But I started thinking about—
You do have a pair of wellies.
I do. I started thinking about the time that Maz was gone. So 4 years ago, he was at Prairie St. John's on March 10th. And almost nobody knew that he was gone. Almost nobody knew that anything was wrong. So now I want to pull up another photo for you. I hope I can find it. Let's see. Let me do this quickly. Okay. And then let's do this. I think this will let me do it.
It's like teaching with Zoom. Look at
It's
this.
so true. Okay.
Can everyone see?
So in this photo was taken February 14th, 2017. And it is a really exciting day. This is board members of the Arts Partnership and staff and members of the Kilbourne Group, because we were at a ribbon cutting for APT, this 2-year incubator for artists that Kilbourne Group and the Arts Partnership entered into. And this was our Chamber of Commerce blue ribbon cutting. For all intents and purposes, this was an incredibly exciting day. And I look quite happy. Here's what nobody knew. Nobody in this picture had any idea that my husband was in rehab, and I had absolutely no idea whether or not rehab was going to take, what was going to happen when he came home. I had no idea when he was going to come home. And the other thing that nobody in this picture knew, and just to be clear, there are about 100 people in this room at this point, and I have just given a big welcome talk, and now we're cutting this ribbon. The other thing that nobody knew is that this was day one of the single worst flu I've ever had in my life. Absolutely blows my experience with COVID right out of the water.
You were sick.
I was so sick. It was astonishing. One day later, I got out of the shower and passed out. And I was passed out so long from being sick that I was completely dry when I woke up. So that's how sick I was. You can't tell that from this picture. You can't tell any of that. I just look like a happy CEO of a nonprofit doing my job. So the point behind all of this is just the reality of what is true and the reality of what we see.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've talked a lot about that was really an impetus for starting Daily Dose, for going public with this story, is that if you never talk about the dark, the scary, the insecure, the lonely, the shame, the fear, if you never talk about any of that, how can anyone else know that it's okay for them to talk about it?
Yeah, that's incredibly true.
So I feel like Harry and Meghan are a really powerful example of just recognizing that what you see is what you are allowed to see. And it may or may not be the whole picture. And chances are pretty good it's probably not. So
Yeah.
that's important for the moments when you're on Facebook and you're scrolling and you're filled with envy, which we all are. It's important for the moments when you are with your own thoughts and you are filled with all of the insecurities, sadness, loathing, all of that. It's important to remember that nobody can see that if you don't share it. We saw a thing last night on PBS News about the rise of teenage suicide because of COVID.
Yeah.
And this surprised me. There's a tendency as a parent to not even want to introduce the concept of suicide out of fear that you will introduce it to your child's mind. So you don't ask. The best way to ensure that someone doesn't go through with it is to point blank ask them, to give them a platform to express whatever they're going through, and then to say, I'm here for you. And that's really Daily Dose.
Yeah. I mean, just as a small example, I've noticed when the face-to-face classes I have, there's a lot less absentees, and it's obviously it's easy to tell because the classes are smaller. But I even asked a couple of my kids, I said, you're always in the front row. Every class, you're there before I get there. I usually get there about 5 or 6 minutes before class, just to turn everything on. But they're always there, and they say, we actually look forward to it. And they said they look forward to the class, not because it's my class, but it's the only face-to-face class they have. And they said, I like being in a room with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if there's anything to take away from today, it's to remember that whatever you're feeling has value, even if nobody else knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that everybody's got multiple sides to their story, and you're not probably seeing all of it, which should give you comfort. And then remember that you can be the person who reaches out and says, I am here for you. That's a powerful thing to say and do. Then you got to follow through with it. Yeah. But it's a powerful thing.
You could actually mean it.
Yeah. So thanks for watching today. We hope that you will
tell, by the way. I like
Thank you. Thanks. We hope that you will like the page and come back if this is your first time. And if you're a longtime watcher, you know how much we appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
Quick update. Tomorrow is a pre-record because I have an 8 a.m. meeting for about 100 people that I'm hosting on Zoom. So pre-record will show up at 8:30, and it's a really interesting conversation that you will be surprised by. I will give you a little bit of preface in a Facebook post tomorrow morning, probably about 7:15 if you want some context for it. Otherwise, we will see you live on Friday. Thanks so much and have a great day.
See you Friday.
Bye.